on surge now for Decay to let go. And once more, Dallas fuel fall by the hand of a former comrade. Ed Dallas looks shell-shocked.
Upsets.
Goodbye, Paris Eternal. Down the well you go.
3-0 back-to-back for the Seoul Dynasty in the playoffs. With the Guangzhou Charge, however, it's down to losers and a step closer to glory.
This kind of performance is what you need to see in the playoffs.
Having fun yet?
And now this has turned into an utter massacre.
This is such a good day of Overwatch.
Yeah, it really is.
The heavyweights are showing why they're in a class of their own.
The Shock just continue to roll forward.
This is peak Shanghai Dragons. This is a team to fear.
The Fusion just locking it down.
And our Cinderella teams have busted brackets and continue to roll.
The Rain are gonna do it, and they are moving on as they knock Paris down to the losers brackets.
The Eternal are done, and the Washington Justice continue the miracle run of the 2020 playoffs.
But the deeper in the playoffs you go, the pressure builds. And if you're not careful, it's lights out.
And now you can feel the pressure, the uncertainty seeping in.
This is the final chance to prove you belong.
Oh my God, what a performance.
It won't be easy.
It's all gone horribly wrong.
It will test you to your core.
Can they create history before our very eyes?
You can't let anyone off the hook. The final chance to punch your ticket to the Grand Finals weekend starts now. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of Overwatch League APAC action. The last day for APAC action, as it turns out, because we have one more team looking to get seeded forward into the top 4 globally in the league. And it's going to be either the Seoul Dynasty or the NYXL.
Going to be a really exciting matchup, this one. You know, and really, this is two teams who have never made it all the way, right? Two teams that have been hyped since the beginning of the Overwatch League as top Korean teams to make it to the Grand Final. Seoul Dynasty predicted to win 2018, fell flat, right? New York always choking in the playoffs. That's the ongoing joke, right, about this squad. Take a look at our bracket. We're down to, as you say, the final day before we go to our top 4, and it's these two teams, these historic rosters, that remain.
Yeah, I mean, the vestiges of, you know, Lunatic High and LW Blue now looking to get their spot in that Final 4. We've already got 2 teams, one from Asia, one from NA, San Francisco Shock, as well as the Shanghai Dragons. The 2 teams that I think everybody would have expected to be the first one seeded forward into that top 4. But now it's all down to these final 2 slots, one for APAC, one for NA. And it's going to be a very, very tough series for both of these squads.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, that's the 2 teams that most expect to clash in the Grand Finals, right? That's the big clash everyone's expecting to see. Cross-region play at the highest level at that Grand Finals in Korea. You know, it's been announced. We know that's where we are headed. Everyone's coming here. And that's the really exciting finals we might get. But there's the chance of an upset along the way, right? And one of these 2 teams might be the team to do it, to make it happen.
Yeah, very well could be. Well, in case you missed it, we've had a feature airing for the last couple broadcasts here about the NYXL and their road potentially into that grand final. We're able to catch up with the players, get their thoughts, get their feelings on what that would mean for them. And now this is, you know, the last stretch of the road for them to make that happen. So let's go ahead and take a look at that feature one more time.
이제 18년 때 제가 1시즌 때 MVP 받았었는데 그때 심정은 솔직히 이걸 내가 받는 게 그게 이제 좀 그 연도에 이제 제가 프로를 좀 데뷔하기도 했고 그래가지고 그냥 뭔가 하던 대로 한 건데 뭔가 이제 이렇게 MVP도 받고 해가지고 신기하다 이 정도. 네, 저희가 상위권을 유지하다가 이제 1시즌, 2시즌 둘 다 아쉽게도 플레이오프 이제 결승전을 못 갔는데
그래서 그때는 좀 더 당연히 결승전 무조건 간다라는 마인드였다면서
다들 너무 잘하는 선수들이고 팀원들이고 이제 작년이랑 재작년에 아쉽게 됐고
그런 게 멘탈에 딱히 뭐 나쁘게 작용된 거는 그때 딱 한순간 말고는 딱히 없던 것 같고 오히려 이제 좀 더 동기부여돼서 멘탈적으로 좀 더 좋아진 것 같아요. 작년 이제 그랜드 파이널에 가려는데 이제 장애물이라고 생각되는 것들은 이제 저희랑 상대하는 뭐 팀들이라고 생각합니다. 뭐 저희랑 상대하게 될 팀들이라고 생각해요.
확실히 이전 뉴욕보다는 이제 좀 더 새로운 스타일의 뉴욕.
New York City continues to excite and delight, and their team, the NYXL, no different. Welcome back.
그런 걸 향해서 가고 있는 그런 느낌이라서 이전 시즌과는 많이 다른 것 같아요.
저희 팀이 이제 북미에 있다가 아시아로 넘어오게 됐었는데 그럼 뭐 경기 뭐 차이를 비교를 해보자면은 제 생각에는 아시아 이제 팀들이 더 잘한다고 생각하고 있고.
But he's showing absolutely no respect whatsoever for the New York Excelsior. 3 kills for Fleta.
이제 뭐 상하이 같은 팀을 무조건 이기고 올라가야 결승을 갈 수 있다 생각을 해서 이제 그런 팀들을 상대하는 데 있어서 굉장히 저희가 노력을 많이 해야 되는 것 같아요.
이번 플레이오프에서는 좀 이때까지와 다르게 좀 밑에서 시작하는 게 있는 감이 있는데 감이 아니라 이제 밑에서 시작하는데 그런 게 딱히 뭐 부담은 되지 않고 밑에서부터 좀 차례차례 꺾어서 이제 올라간다는 마인드로 플레이오프를 임할 것 같습니다.
역사상 오버워치 리그에서 역사상 가장 좋았던 순간이 이제 시즌 1 스테이지 3를 우승하고 가장 좋았어요. 근데 이제 만약에 이렇게 우승하게 된다면 글쎄요, 제가 감히 그 기분을 지금 알 수가 없을 것 같아서 말을 못 할 것 같아요. 그때도 그랬거든요. 그때도 이런 기분은 처음이다 해서 평생 기억에 남는 순간을 간직하고 지내고 있는데 만약에 이번에도 그 순간이 온다면 다시 한번 평생 기억에 남을 순간을 만드는 거죠.
울지도 않을까라 그냥 그렇게 생각합니다. 이제 좀 너무 오랜만에 우승을 하는 거라
저희 멤버 3명 다 리그에 들어와서는 팀을 옮긴 적이 없기 때문에 이 팀에서는 꼭 우승하고자 하는 마음이 강할 것 같아요.
뉴욕에서 지금까지 쭉 같이 해온 멤버들이 많은데 지금 이 멤버로 우승하게 된다면 일단 너무 좋을 것 같고 지금 갈수록 멤버들이 계속 바뀌고 있잖아요. 그런데 이제 더 바뀌기 전에 예전부터 같이 해왔던 멤버들로 인해서 우승을 빨리 했으면 좋겠습니다.
Alrighty, and here are our starting 6 for the NYXL. Sepiobi will be stepping back in over Nene, who was playing just yesterday. Hawksall still alongside him. The rest of the team, no real surprises. We did get to see Bianca come out yesterday, but Hotba will be starting yet again.
Yeah, we have 4 members of the core NYXL roster that had so much success. This is the most consistent Overwatch League team we've had across 3 seasons. No team comes close to having the record across 3 years of league play that New York does. Yep. And it's incredible they've been able to maintain this level of play for so long. And if you look at the additions they have to their roster in the starting lineup that we have, and we have had, you look and you see Hapa, who's an LW Red player who has obviously a lot of experience with a lot of these guys, and Huxall, the former Runaway, former Vancouver Titans DPS. And it looks like this is an unstoppable roster. If you took a picture of this roster at the beginning of 2019 and said this is the future of NYXL, you probably think, how did we get there? How did this happen? How did they get even more powerful? How did they get an even stronger super team built together? You look at the record in 2020, you think, okay, not as good as maybe I thought, but still a solid record. One of the top seeds here in APAC, and they're just 1 series away from making top 4. And maybe, just maybe, they could do what they couldn't do in 2018 and make that grand finals. They're so close, the closest they've ever been since 2018, since that very end of the year playoff run that we had. I mean, it feels like history's repeating itself a little bit here. We'll see if they can close it out this time.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams have been knocked into the lower bracket by the Shanghai Dragons, the first team to get qualified through, now vying for that final slot to join their, previous opponents alongside them in the top 4. So everything to play for. Whoever loses this series, this first of 3, That's it for 2020, as it has been, for the last several days. It's all about the eliminations. It's all about advancing now, and both of these teams are going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they are going in alongside the Shanghai Dragons to represent the APAC region. I can't imagine the amount of pressure that these players are under at the moment. Seoul playing a very close series. NYXL as well versus Shanghai played a pretty close series. So these guys are operating at a similar level while playing different styles of Overwatch here at the moment. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Seoul Dynasty starting 6, however, see what they're working with, and to no one's surprise whatsoever, as we get that graphic up on your screen, there is no changes.
No changes whatsoever here for Seoul Dynasty, and this is not a shocker. Normally when I talk about these types of teams, right, and I talk about the history, we end up talking about Korean history and Apex, but I want to actually liken this team to something that is maybe a little bit more familiar to some of the audiences that don't always watch APAC, don't always watch Korean Overwatch. But this roster is really similar to Washington Justice right now in terms of their very recent success in this meta, suddenly picking up the Roadhog, finding a ton of success with what we've been calling the Pig's Feet meta, with the Roadhog Sigma, double sniper often with that, so you have the Roadhog for peel, Sigma for peel as well, so it's hard to dive and kill the snipers. They found a ton of success with it. They forced Shanghai to match them yesterday on that exact same composition. So Seoul Dynasty here, one of those teams that is having a ton of success in the meta. It's not quite the same as Washington Justice because they had some really high highs earlier on in the season. Made Melee finals, for example. So very strong team that's doing very well, right now, and has had its peaks throughout the season, but it feels like it's suddenly come to a head here at the very last moment, right before the finish line, and that's the best time to have things come together.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's not about how you start, it's all about how you finish, and Seoul Dynasty are looking to, go out of the regular season, go out of the playoffs into that top 4 with a bang. And NYXL are going to do everything that they possibly can to try to shut this down, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts, Wolf, about who is going to be able to take this series? Because I am yet again completely on the fence. I think this could absolutely go either way.
I think it could go either way, but I feel like given the tense nature of this match, how much is on the line for both of these teams, especially the veterans on these teams, the London Spitfire players playing for, the ex-London Spitfire players, I should say, playing for Seoul, the Seoul management, right? The amount of pressure that's on their shoulders, their salaries, right? This expensive trade and acquisition, I guess you could say, to Seoul Dynasty. All of this comes to a head here at the end. New York, their legacy, their failed legacy in playoffs, so much pressure there. On top of it all, I feel like this series will end up being one-sided, but I can't tell you who's going to win it. I feel like momentum is definitely going to. I think momentum is going to play into this big time. I think whoever gets that first map, if they take the second one, I think things will absolutely snowball out of control. That's my take.
Okay. See, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that, I don't know who's going to win, but I think that this is going to be a close series all the way through. At least that's what I'm hoping for, I guess, deep down inside is, me, I want the Game 5 to come in, especially when it's as important of a series as this one right here. If we can take this all the way to a map 5, maybe even a map 6, if we have a draw come through on either the, Hybrid or Assault, as long as we can keep the action going, I am going to be a very happy man when it comes down to watching this and commentating it, because this is basically the end of the road. We have a long break as the teams will get ready to come over to Asia, do their quarantine, and whatnot, and then go into that top 4 weekend, and then the grand final afterwards. So there will be a long break. So I need to get my fix while I can.
It is going to be a long break. Then for the loser, a very long break. So
yeah,
a lot on the line here. Bringing out their star lineups for what we've seen in recent times. Again, Bilby, somewhat of a question mark as we go into this first map and our first assembly here. The question is, what will he play? Will it be Hitscan as he's been playing very recently? That's what he highlights first. But will it be potentially some Tracer? We might see Full Dive, Sombra Tracer. That's something that we might see on some of the more open parts of the map, especially Sanctuary is where that comes to mind, where you might see Seoul Dynasty running double sniper with that Roadhog. And that's something that they might try to dive with. Huxall, very flexible, can go between the Genji and the Sombra. We've seen a lot of his Genji on Escort in particular. But it looks like here, we're just going to see that Sombra Ashe. No Reaper here for NYXL. Mono back to the Wrecking Ball. And Seoul Dynasty going to their tried and true Prophet Pharah. 10,000 eliminations yesterday, he reached it. See how many he can get today.
little bit of a late swap there from Fitz. Actually decided to move over onto the Widowmaker. So will not be matching the Sombra, will not be matching the Ashe. Already getting tagged up. Sleep Dart connects onto Mono. Prophet knocks him off the high ground. Now they all get the surround, the pull in, they get the kill. Great isolation there for the Seoul Dynasty as the point is now unlocked, and you can see the NYXL not in a position to go ahead and get that first cap. So Seoul will be able to slink their way over to the point, get that rolling through as Fitz looks for his next target. That being said, will be another Wrecking Ball getting taken down as Hawksall finds Marvel, gives him a similar treatment. Fitz going to be dropping onto the low ground. Has plenty of support from his teammates here. As Hawksall just not paying attention, but does not die. Gesture can't get the execution on the Sombra. Bionade now out onto 3 members on the side of the NYXL. Anamo already going to be taken down. The follow-up is there. All the supports, all the DPS now gone with Hotbot getting knocked out of the mech. Seoul Dynasty will go ahead and be able to maintain control of this point for quite some time.
Yeah, this is a really nice start here for Seoul Dynasty. Creative's going to have Nano Boost before the EMP is ready, so they should be able to live through that. Hotbot just going to swap here to remech. Gesture looking for a quick little freebie here around the corner. That's a common approach angle that Sombra might have taken. Not going to happen in this case. But Seoul Dynasty, if they win this fight, they're almost guaranteed 99%. Hawksall does not have EMP. Looking for the hack here to deny that Nano Boost.
Yeah, does find it onto Creative, but they can't get the kill onto the Ana, so still will be able to stay alive.
Mono keeps getting slapped.
Gets that ulti ready. Yeah, they just keep shutting him down. Creative has been so great at connecting with these sleep darts on prime targets. Jonik, however, manages to find one. Gesture going to be eliminated, and Toby burns the res onto the Widowmaker, so now they can't bring Gesture back into the fray. Marvel discorded, melted down. It's no way to escape. Prophet continues to play forward, pops the barrage for a kill, but the Transcendence comes out from Jonik to keep everybody alive, and Prophet will just end up taking himself out in the end. YXL make their way over onto the point. The cap should be coming through as Sabiolbi just looks for somebody.
That was a pretty incredible
shot, but with the dynamite going through, yeah, Creative's going to fall. Minefield coming in, however, from Marvel. Does manage to find Jonik, but Sabiolbi will cut him down. Rez comes out. Toby does manage to pick up Marvel. The Bob now going to be invested on the point just to try to deter him, as it looks like a bit of a disconnect here from the Seoul Dynasty members. Some feeling like they could make that fight happen, still get the point defended, but does not work out that way.
Very sloppy here from Seoul. Seeing blood in the water, hoping they could just get kind of a quick retake and steal this round away. It doesn't happen. Two big plays from Jonik, though. When New York opened that up to get the retake, he ended up getting the kill onto Fitz and then having the perfect trance there for the barrage. Once again, Mono in big trouble here, though, in the front lines.
Prophet as well, though, having swapped over onto the Tracer, going to be eliminated. Hook coming out from Gesture, not going to get the connection that he was looking for. Sabiolbi falls low, but they keep him alive. The tank line beaten and battered, but looks like they pulled back well enough to go ahead and get topped up as a hack comes in onto Marvel, and he gets forced to go around the corner. Discord Orb threatening him quite a bit. The backline is Hawksall. Next EMP nearly up and ready to go, just 22% away from having that ult. Hack comes out onto Creative, can't use the sleep dart, just trying to keep Gesture alive here for the moment. Nano boost the whole hog going to be coming out, Hotbot going to be knocked out of the mech. That's going to force the self-destruct. They'll pull back away from the explosion to make sure they don't get taken down, but now Toby will be falling. No supports available for the Seoul Dynasty on the point with the EMP coming through. It connects onto all 4 remaining members of the Seoul Dynasty. Being said, they create a decent amount of space, almost get that flip coming in, as Mono will be rolling off the point. Comes back in to try to recontest it, but can't do it in time, so Seoul Dynasty do grab the point for now and are ticking up.
Yeah, just trying to recontest to buy time here, but I mean, that's what they really desperately need. Hawksall doesn't have EMP. This was a really rocky fight for them. Marvel already up to that gravitic flux here in this fight. He's going to have it defensively. Mono's going to have to engage here with that minefield. Then we're going to see potentially, oh, never mind, not going to see that Bob. I was going to say that's the longer fight you're looking for. Not going to happen anymore.
Oh, no. And now they can't res him back into the fight. Anamo getting taken down shortly thereafter. 99% with the OT starting to bleed away. Mono dropped the minefield, but it's going to be Hotbot and Mono both falling. No main tanks now available for the side of the NYXL. And one after the other, they just get picked off. Almost swaps over onto the Lucio to try to get a tag, but he will not be able to make it happen. So 100% to 83. Seoul Dynasty are able to take the first round. Downtown is theirs.
New York having the same problems that every team that's hit Seoul Dynasty has had, including, arguably the best Sombra in the world in Lip. As Hawksall's running into this issue where he's trying to hack Creative in the backline, Toby instantly there every time. every time Creative gets hacked,
Yep.
Toby's there to make sure he doesn't die, doesn't get one clipped. Creative escapes. You know, sometimes he tries to sleep dart. Huxel hasn't really been working, but he gets away, right? You try to hack Gesture, you're putting yourself at extreme risk of actually just getting dynamited and blown up. Gesture, if he hits a right click on you, you die. If he hooks you, you die. Or at least, very worst case scenario, or sorry, best case scenario, worst case scenario from Gesture, you have to translocate away. These are these hooks that he just keeps going for around this corner because he knows that's the approach angle. And you know, this Sombra pick just isn't working out the way that New York wants it to. Despite some good EMPs and some good setups for them, I mean, the threat, the backline threat just really isn't there because Soul's comp is so safe against that. And now they're going for that double sniper style. Not going to be with a Sigma this time, though. At least for the beginning, it's going to be Marvel on Wrecking Ball.
Okay, well, the snipers are already doing some serious work. Anamo and Sibyobi going to be eliminated yet again.
And a crossfire, too. Different angles.
Yeah. Jonak rolled over. Point lockdown for Seoul Dynasty first here as Marvel does get hacked. Hoxel farming off of that Wrecking Ball over there on the side, but it will be Mono eliminated as well. And Anamo can't get into a position to bring Mono back into the fight. Does get Jonak to try to get that Transcendence building up.
Yeah, it's going to be really helpful, too.
Very slow.
At pushing Marvel out. And I mean, look at this crossfire that Fitz and Prophet have set up here. It's so difficult to approach. Hoxel does escape detection for the moment.
Pile Driver not going to get the hit onto Fitz. Do they have the peel, though? Grapples to the side. Hoxel joining in, trying to get the pick, but Fitz! Oh, he quick scopes in, gets the headshot, shutting him down. Pull comes through. Sabiobi protected for the moment as Gesture takes a breather to try to stay alive. In the meantime, Marvel rolls in, finds Jonak. Gesture still will fall under the pressure. Just too many members of the NYXL surrounding that Roadhog. Couldn't make his way out of there, but it might not matter at all because Marvel drops a minefield and just sends Sabiobi sailing into it. Says good night to him. Creative in the back line, just keeping everybody spammed up, gets the connection to finish off Hot Button. Seoul Dynasty are looking primed and ready to take this 100-0.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. Seoul Dynasty are going to have a nano boost too to deal with Hoxel's EMP. That's if he gets to find that angle to even hit it, because there's so many different ways he can get shut down so many different ways that, you know, this doesn't happen the way he wants it to. He's going to look for that last percentage on Fitz, but he reveals himself. He could have got, oh, that's the end of it.
Oh,
Goodbye.
no. Oh, it's actually Prophet who steals away the kill. Either way, both just ready to shut down Hoxel, who does now have that EMP ready to go. See Hotbutt dancing around, but he will not be allowed to remech. Fitz finds his head yet again. For that Baby Diva. Prophet eliminated, taken out of the fight, but Toby very fast on the res, puts him back into the action, but that will cost Toby. Overstepping it would seem, but now Fitz finds another shot. This time Jonak taken down, follows up to get both of the supports. Hoxel's eliminated yet again, cannot use the EMP. There are 5 members now waiting to respawn on the side of the NYXL, and the OT will just bleed away. The whole hog shoves them off the point, and there you have it. Seoul Dynasty, they put their right foot forward, and they start this series 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, you know, Control does exacerbate a lot of the issues that happen in composition mismatches. So, you know, this is not indicative of necessarily what we're gonna see as we move into different map types here. But it is very scary, right? When, you know, Huxel is just getting shut down every turn. When you're trying to dive one of the best Ashes in the league, you know, suddenly, by the way, Prophet wasn't at the beginning of this year, but he has risen to the task later in the season. I mean, he's getting dynamited, he's getting a body shot, and that's just all it takes sometimes to kill, you know, that roaming Sombra is trying to get the last part of these percentages. And Creative, by the way, is on fire with these sleep darts. Yeah. He's hitting him on Mono nonstop, he's hitting him on Hoxel, he's hyper aware of keeping everybody alive while peeling. I mean, Creative has really solidified himself as the flex support here for this roster over Badoshan right now. And we might have that one-sided series I was alluding to here.
You know, still a little bit too early to tell, but it is a great start for the Seoul Dynasty. Every single member firing on all cylinders on that first map of Busan. Now it's NYXL's map pick. Numbani is what they have selected, and we'll see whether or not that's going to be good enough to net them a tied-up series, make it 1-1 when we come back from the break. So stay tuned, guys. The action is just going to keep getting more and more exciting from here, so you don't want to miss anything.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time to jump in from map number 2. Seoul Dynasty able to start off this series 1 up after taking Busan very convincingly. I mean, the second round especially, just not even close. NYXL couldn't figure out what to do to even try to get on the point. Just kept getting shut down left, right, and center. Now they get their map pick of Numbani to see if it's enough to turn around this series for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great map pick for New York. I can't believe how many times teams have picked this map against New York recently to very mixed results, depending on which team we're talking about. But it's finally New York who actually is picking this map. It makes a lot of sense. It's a map that they've historically found a lot of success with Winston on, with Mono on point A. I know I always sound like a broken record on this, but it was by far where they were best at Winston Goats. Their control of the choke point on the high ground on A. It's phenomenal, something they're very familiar with, and it's been a historically good map for Haksal as well. When Haksal was on Runaway, like they hadn't lost, and in moving into Vancouver Tides, they hadn't lost Numbani in like a year or something like that, maybe even longer. It was actually crazy how long the win streak went. So, you know, this is a map where you feel comfortable if you're New York Excelsior, and this is where you can bring it back. But if this goes wrong, if this ends up being another one-sided match where Haksal just can't find these hack targets he's looking for, he's getting hooked or he's getting blown up by the double sniper, you know, I mean, that's when you start to get really scared as a New York fan, you know, and where those people on the internet start to go get the Monty LW Blue meme out. I'm sure somebody's got that saved on their hard drive right now. They're like, I'm waiting to tweet. But it won't be a choke if New York gets 3-0'd here. That's not what a choke is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as long as Dynasty are playing at this level, yeah, absolutely. Can't really consider it that. But here we go. First on the defense are the NYXL with their map pick, and there's no surprise that Mono will be running with the Winston. Bianca here, backing him up with the Diva.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty stock standard Ashe Sombra defense here with the Winston Diva. Jonak on the Ana has been so phenomenal and so instrumental for New York's success with the Winston, especially on maps like Numbani, where he has really nice sight lines to make sure Mono stays healed up while he tries to get that cleave damage done in the choke. Seoul Dynasty, I think, going to kind of test the waters here before they fully decide on their composition. So far, it looks like the Ashe Sombra as well, and that's what it's going to be. Fitz gets the full scout.
Looking for me.
All right, well, Haksal into the back, just going to jump away. Gets 20%.
And that's why Roadhog wasn't meta for a long time.
Yeah, some would argue that he still isn't, but those people are continuously being proven increasingly more incorrect.
Or copy-pasted throughout the internet.
That too. I was talking about Avast, not so much Unco, but there you go. Shows how many people there are.
Sure.
Creative, again, getting hacked. The Bionade comes out. Shields come out, up, but Creative kind of pushes away from that. They're getting pinched on the other side, so it does get picked off. This is the first instance, I believe, so far in the series where Haksal has successfully hacked and then finished off Creative without getting punished himself.
Well, Toby wasn't there to save him. He does come over and get the res, and now Haxal's dead.
Well,
so things are turning around.
Dead. Not quite certain. Okay, well, there it is. Now I see his corpse. So, yeah, good luck, Anamo. Don't think he's going to be getting in a position to try to bring that Sombra back into the fight, so we'll just have to wait. He's already respawned and will be sprinting back over towards the point. Dynamite into the back. Let's get the detonation. Going to be ticking away at the enemy Mercy, which Jonak will keep alive. Pull in onto Mono. He's got no HP. Netabus comes in. Now just going to be taking a nap. We'll be denying the point cap from coming through, but Prophet does manage to find Bianca, taking him out of the mech, which means that Mono is going to be that much more susceptible to damage. Dynamite into the back room, getting the hit onto St. Yolbi. EMP gets used, finds 3 members. Mono's the first one to fall. Yolbi and Anamo, their hacks will go ahead and expire as Marvel pushes around that top side above the point. While Bob just gets a little bit of alone time. Be taking a nap for the rest of it, though. Dynamite in to try to flush out Jonak. Takes him lower and lower. Still has not been finished off yet, but Marvel finally finds the left-click kill, or rather the accretion kill, to go ahead and finish off that Ana. And with the cleanups coming through, this should be the cap on the point for the Seoul Dynasty. So 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mono
remaining in the time bank for them.
just totally abused throughout that entire time. Huxel, by the way, hacked out of his EMP in animation, if I saw that correctly, so no value.
Oh, I believe you're right.
Totally wasted, unfortunately, so great catch there by Fitz. But Mono, I mean, still got his Primal he wished he could have used earlier, but he just got shut down. The Roadhog makes it so difficult to play Winston. It's so hard when you've also got Fitz with the ability to shut you down, hack you, limit your mobility, limit your ability to Primal. So Jonak's Nano essentially went to waste there. Now he's going to have another one very soon because he's so great at healing. That's a nice catch.
Gesture. Yeah, does get taken down here, as Jonak will just be keeping Mono alive for the time being, getting that next Nano boost ready. A lot of ultimates available here toward the Seoul Dynasty, and a really nice hack onto Bianca sets up for a very swift kill. Now, no defense matrix, so Mono that much more at risk should he dive in. See him pushing forward, they look for Marvel. 2 minutes to eliminate him. Mono now going to be hacked, slept, does get woken up, but it's with a bio nade. He's got no way to leap out. Finally does get that, but Jester pulls him back in, and the Creative will find the kill. That's just the Bob and the Valkyrie used from the side of the Seoul Dynasty, so they're still going to have 4 ultimates to continue rolling this cart up towards point B.
I think it's time for a change of composition here for New York. That's a good start here, at least in terms of forcing out this res. Gonna get Gesture as well, but New York are really struggling to find value with this Winston. They do win this fight off of some clutch plays from Sabilby and Jonak.
Yep. Soul's going to come right back into this one. They're going to have the Flux. And there's not that much burst healing on it up in the air here for the side of the NYXL to survive. So the Focus Fire is good from the Seoul Dynasty.
Huxel needs to be
that
proactive.
Flux could be huge value.
Yeah, and this EMP needs to be big. It needs to be first executed by Huxel. If he uses it second, you might not get a chance to really get value out of it at all. Okay, he does come out first.
Oh, and almost already gone, though. EMP managed to find 2 on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. EMP out from Fitz. It just leads to 2 swift kills here on the back end. Hanpa trying to put, or Bianca rather, gonna have to get used to that one. Will get taken down over here at the cart. And I think that's just gonna be point B snatched up. So Gilby's around the back, but they found him. They finish him off with a Bionade. The cart's around the final corner. Just a couple meters away. So another minute and a half added to the time bank. 3 minutes, 20 seconds now on the board for the Seoul Dynasty on this final stretch. They still hold the Flux. They still hold the whole hog.
Huxel is going to swap over to the Genji. I was wondering if we were going to see a change like this eventually. I mean, you're committing a little bit more to hard dive this way. It's very risky, but we have seen a lot of success from Huxel, even himself in particular, on this hero.
Oh,
he's
no.
Jester's just, look at where Jester is. He's so far forward. No fear.
It was a great distraction. The Seoul Dynasty, they pushed up around the left side. Gesture goes through that center room, and Huxel's just waiting to start farming, you know, his blade off on that left side flank coming in, but he just doesn't get the opportunity to do so. It's a great flank from Gesture, being sneaky peeky like with that Roadhog. A good turnaround here on the fight, however, from the NYXL, coming up with 3 kills, and Huxel builds up a third of his blade, looks for a little bit more. Does get hacked, but still just keep chucking these shurikens. And he is going to be very much safe to continue doing so.
Marvel's pretty happy.
Bought now for NYXL.
Marvel's going to be happy he gets to keep his Primal Rage here. You know, I mean, he's constantly being bionaded, slept, hooked, hacked, accretioned. You know, he's rocked, he's stunned. He's getting constantly abused, so that Primal is his one reprieve. It's his one survival tool as long as he's not stunned or hacked while he wants to use it. Fitz here going to have EMP set up, and he wants Mono in particular. That's the best target he can get here. Prevent that Primal for this to just push through.
Well, Bob is out from Prophet. There's that one straight up the lane. Mono getting antied, falls a little bit low, pops up Primal Rage, goes into the back, gets stunned for the moment, goes up onto the high ground. But you can see he's basically using this Primal to exit, not to harass the enemy team. He's not isolating anybody for the rest of the squad to try to come up with a kill. Gesture on the hunt, sees them poking out of that balcony. Decides to wrap back around the side, spots out Mono. Fitz, however, headshot by Saityobi, who does have the Bob alive. Prophet does get slapped. Everybody pushing up to try to defend their own Ashe, but will get taken down all the same with a very nice Bionade lobbed in from Jonak. Huxel playing forward, will get punished by Creative, who again comes up with a very nice sleep dart, but
don't know about this
should
res.
Get taken down here on the back end. Maybe not. Bionade coming through, and yeah, Huxel pushes up around the corner, does manage to find that kill in the end.
They commit the res, does end up working out, and I mean, he's probably going to have it for the next critical moment for that to be available, but I don't know if that was absolutely necessary. New York getting a kind of a few really nice plays done. Mono's escape attempt, like you were talking about, worked out really well because Gesture actually missed his hook on his return back to the fray. Hoxel gets to hold his blade. He finishes it here. Fitz, though, so unseen. Mono is checking for him right now, but he does not get the spy check off. And this could be a really nice EMP to finish this push. Bio's good.
Out, finds 2. That found Fitz. Now has to reset Marvel, taken down with 28 seconds. That's catastrophic here for the Seoul Dynasty. Toby pops the Valkyrie. Would love to get a res off, but I don't think he's going to be given the opportunity. The Bionade again from Jonah connects with Fitz this time, finishing him off. Res going to have to be used by Toby up around the corner. Hoxel now going in deep, draws at the Dragon Blade, finds Creative with 1, finds Toby with a second. Accretion comes in, he's got 22 HP remaining. They finally find the shot, but it's such a bloodbath back and forth, and somebody's got to tag the cart now for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. There's only 2 alive. Marvel trying to make his way there. They're trying to body block him as best as possible. This self-destruct from Bianca is perfectly timed. They will touch to tag out the OT, but now the boop away comes through. They deny the retouch, and Seoul Dynasty do not get an opportunity to use so many of those ultimates that they had accumulated for that final push.
That was a really nice defense for New York Excelsior. Very careful about how they wanted to make sure to stagger everyone. The bomb was perfect just to prevent the touch there. I mean, you could see Marvel was desperately trying to set up a barrier to try to get on there and block the self-destruct. There's just no way to make that happen. Mono getting really well pocketed by Jonak. Hoxel has the perfect blade, gets a few solo kills in the back line, gets that kill into Marvel as well just previously, before Marvel, of course, comes in for that attempted reset. So a lot of individual plays on the side of New York here end up working really well, but that was on the defense, right? And that was on the C defense where they finally decided to swap over Genji onto, or swap Hoxel onto that Genji. It's going to be Bianca here. I don't know what exactly we're taking a look at here, but anyway, I want to talk about this setup now for New York on the attack, because this is where it's going to get really hard, right? Prophet's going to play
potentially, yeah,
Pharah, so, you know, someone's going to have to deal with that. Prophet's going to operate around this corner here where Toby's standing. He can fly back around the corner. No one has line of sight on him. They can fly over, get some pot shots, fly back. And everyone on New York, if they try to go through this choke that you see to the left of your screen here, they're going to have a lot of problems, not only with the Pharah, but also with the, you know, Pig's Feet, right? All the CC. Like this dive plus, you know, a little bit of poke with Ashe and a little bit of flexibility versus the Pharah is so weak against well-executed Hog Sigma. And so this is where I really worry for New York. Sure, they got the hold, they prevented the full cap, but how far can they go? How great is this attack going to be when they're the ones who have to be the ones leaping into tons of crowd control? That's my concern here for New York Excelsior now.
Well, so far aren't changing anything up. Hoxel just making his way onto the point, is trying to get around the corner. They haven't quite spotted him there. Hack comes in onto Marvel. Jester going to be the one getting focus fired here for the moment. The Bionade sets up nicely to take him down. That's exactly what New York needs to try to break through. Rez comes out onto Jonak, but Prophet finds Mono, but Bianca will go ahead and get rid of the enemy Pharah. That's going to be all of the damage now effectively gone. Jester going to be running his way back slowly to try to get into the fight here. Marvel just sits alone on the point. Sleep Dart connects onto Bianca. The pocket heals are there, however, from Anama to keep him safe and inside the mech. So NYXL will just be ticking up on the point for now.
Yeah.
Second tick coming through. You can see the wraparound from behind. Seoul Dynasty, they do want to contest this. Stun comes out. Hoxel still holds on to the EMP. Tosses that one out, and it's just a catch onto 2. And a boost used from Creative to try to keep him alive. It's going to be Bianca knocked out of the mech. Now Sibiobi going to be gone, and maybe they actually might be able to make this happen. Marvel continues to chase forward, bouncing these spheres out around the corner of the bus, ripping apart the members of the NYXL as they try to retreat. Prophet dives back in. It's the Mega Pack. Will be able to stay alive, and Seoul Dynasty actually do pull off the recontest.
A very, you know, even though it's only Toby, a very Lunatic High-esque recontest. You know, Prophet swaps over to Tracer, barely touches. Marvel is able to pop off there. He's got his Gravitic Flux. I mean, that couldn't have gone better for New York. I mean, they had everything they wanted. Jonak's Bionade was huge. They got the double kill there to lead it off. They had the whole ult advantage, and it all fell apart.
Mono almost was getting picked off as soon as he exited. And a boost is used onto the Winston to try to keep him alive. He doesn't have a primal rage, however, and is Bionaded. He manages to make it out to the Mega Pack, try and stay alive. Self-destruct finds Gesture, the Bobs, trading some kills back and forth, but Sabiobi's doing just a little bit more work as it takes down Prophet. It seems like, yeah, finally the NYXL should be able to break through here onto the point to get this cap coming in, but there's a decent little time buy for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. That being said, there's still 4 minutes in the time bank for New York as they start on the stretch phase.
Yeah, I really like New York's position here, actually. Like, that was really good crisis management after they ended up losing, you know, the latter part of that push, right, where they ended up getting held. They had to use a lot of ultimates, but they do come back in, have a really decisive team fight despite being down on ultimates. Marvel's now going to swap over to the Zarya here, so take more of a page out of Washington Justice's book. The Decay strat here coming out. We'll see if this ends up working well for them. Oh, Prophet.
Oh dear. He makes it out. They don't finish him off. They take him down to 4 HP. He comes back with the pulse bomb, takes out Jonak. Are you kidding me? Prophet. This guy is the GOAT. Toby goes in, gets his hands dirty by taking down Hoxall, then immediately goes over to the Res Creative. Bianca out of the fight now. Anamo going to get picked off as well. And YXL will be stopped. The cart control now in the hands of the Seoul Dynasty.
I mean, you can't make this up.
What
you
a
can't
play.
make this up.
What a play. How do you
health.
botch that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just miscalculation by New York Excelsior. You always got to secure the kills. You've always got to, you never turn away until he's dead. He just spams E on his keyboard and gets away. And this is a huge time buy for Seoul Dynasty. I feel like Seoul Dynasty wants this more than any other team's ever wanted anything in the Overwatch League right now. They're all playing so perfectly. They're all playing better than they have all season long, all 6 of them.
I guess I just have to acknowledge the utter irony that Jonak is the one who gets pulse bombed after he nailed the really nice sleep dart, and then the rest of his team just kind of failed to get the kill. That's going to be really frustrating for him.
Poor health, you know?
Yeah, ready to go from Hoxall. He's going to go ahead, tosses it out, manages to find 3. Gesture antied for the moment, but not taking too much damage, so should be able to outlast the hack, and he does. The nano boost helps him a great deal. Jonak taken down as Gesture pushes back forward, finds Mono inside of his own bubble. Gets that elimination as Marvel will just press up here, building up towards his Graviton Surge. Gets the finish on to save Yolvi, and Bianca's got to go off the side of the map and reset. Half the time bank now drained for New York.
Yeah, this is looking really bad for New York now, because now they don't have great tools. Yeah, you're probably thinking, Wolf, they have 5 ultimates here. What do you mean they don't have great tools? But how are you gonna execute this type of push, right? You can nano boost Mono, then he can primal, and you have this really long push. Bob comes through, but then you've got to deal with the Graviton Surge on the other side. The bubble's gonna come out. If anybody gets picked by Fitz, then it's all over anyways. Look at Jonak, he's trying to set up for that nano boost. That's gonna be the engagement tool. But this is so hard to pull off, even with the ult advantage New York has. Compositionally, they're disadvantaged here, and Seoul's not giving them time to figure it out.
Prophet is on the hunt. Bianca already going to be D-Mex, which means the grab could come through. Pulse Bomb is going to be dropped down onto the ground. Bianca makes it back in, so Bionade actually comes out, connects onto 3. That's exactly what they needed. Leads to multiple kills here on the side of the NYXL, who can finally start moving that card forward again. They will get point B. Prophet just delaying for a little bit. And Xavioli finds the headshot. Now it's going to be 2.5 minutes to make it just a little bit before point C for the map victory. This is absolutely possible for the NYXL, but they might have to go for a couple eco pushes here, because the EMP is the only thing they have that's just about ready to come online.
Oh, nice hook here from Gesture. That's going to buy a lot of time. That's the one target you can't res. And that's going to push them back here around the corner. It means that Marvel gets to hold this grab for another fight. New York not out of this yet. They've had some really nice fights. It feels like Jonak is carrying this with Bionades alone, sometimes the sleep darts. That's a kill onto Prophet. He'll rejoin quickly, though, so not too consequential. But New York have an opportunity here to take an aggressive EMP fight, shut down this grab before the energy gets high, and then try to kind of snowball those respawns, and prevent them from getting 6 back up ever again. But it has to be really decisively done. So my Hoxall's been a little bit iffy about with this Sombra.
Sleep hit onto Jester, but the Dynamite dragged him out. Gets the pull onto Hoxall, so no EMP in this fight. Means that NYXL just have to go ahead and pull back collectively. Again, fishing for a hook. This time doesn't manage to find one. Bionade lost in from Jonak. Does manage to find Fitz, and Hoxall's back in. Grab's going to be used on the corner, but no one is caught in it. NYXL successfully disengaged before the trigger was pulled for that ultimate. So a big tool now gone for the side of the Seoul Dynasty on this defense. Whole Hog going to have to be used. Prophet using the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't manage to find anything. Hoxall jumps forward, looks to get the hack on the Gesture, cannot find it. EMPs him, but it doesn't matter. The nano boost with a left click just takes him down all the same. Bionade used by Jonak to keep himself alive, and Mono gets the Koopa Stomp on the Prophet, eliminating the Tracer. Gesture taking a breather, almost has that next ult ready to go. Squats down, gets the pull on to Bianca, shuts him out of that remake. Mono, meanwhile, off screen with the Primal Rage, does find Creative, but Prophet is right in behind Safe Yobi and helps take him down. Now goes on the hunt for Jonak and for Anamo, which will be found. And the car is going to get halted here, at least for a little bit longer. 25 seconds left.
You just don't even get a real push anymore. You don't actually get a real push. You don't get a real chance. You don't get an opportunity here. You're going to have to make a miracle happen if you're New York Excelsior. Mono swapping over to the Wrecking Ball here. Huxel making some tough choices. Went to the Reaper briefly. He's hoping for that staying power. Decides, no, I'm going to need the hack. That's going to be more effective here. There's about to be a grab online for Marvel. Whole hog to delay and push off the cart. Good luck with this one, New York Excelsior. Let's see if they can make a miracle happen.
See what happens here. The Bob going to be tossed out onto the point. The pull comes in. Bianca, bio-nated. D-Matrix expires. He gets knocked out of the mech, which means that Gesture is fine to go for the whole hog. But that being said, Jonex shuts it down. Finds the stick, however. Kills off Safe Yobi, but hits himself at the same time. But the damage is looking like it is done. Mono is trying to stay alive, but just cannot do so. Jonak rezzed, but the OT will bleed away. The Seoul Dynasty will successfully defend on Nimbani. And maybe you are correct, Wolf. Maybe this is just going to be the Dynasty running away with this series because they are now 2-0 up. It is match point. One more map win for them, and they are in the top 4 alongside the Shanghai Dragons and the San Francisco Shock.
It's a slaughter. It's not even close. It's not even close. These fights, the way that this is being played. I mean, sure, it was a really nice defense for New York on C. I'll give them that. That was a really nice defense that they had, on the first round. Well, we went into round 2, and when they were on their attack, Huxel was indecisive so many times. Roadhog shouldn't be able to just turn around and say, there's Huxel, and hook him and kill him. And that happened so many times. We're seeing Jonak be the real playmaker. His bio-nades are what's securing a lot of these team fights. Because otherwise, there's so many heals. Toby's he's on whoever is damaged. He's on who's ever being focused down so quickly, whether it's created by Huxel coming in or if it's Mono trying to push in and win the tank battle. Toby's always there. So it's these bio-nades that are so critical at preventing, Gesture on the Roadhog from taking a breather, healing himself up, walking away, getting out, then re-engaging, looking for another hook. So that's the big strong point here for NYXL, but everything else is just a little bit too sloppy, and you can't afford to be playing this sloppy against the team that revolutionized how this comp is played in APAC right now. You can't, and I mean, I'm not trying to curse Seoul Dynasty fans anymore, but it feels like this one is already over.
I will again just remind people to not get excited. NYXL, they have a little bit of time to try and, collect themselves, talk as a unit, say, what are we doing wrong? How do we get back into the series? How do we pull off a reverse sweep? But is that going to be enough time is the question. When we come back, we're going to have our game break. Wolf and I will be breaking down these first 2 maps and talk about what we expect from the NYXL, what they need to do perhaps to try to get back into the series. So stay tuned.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
All right, welcome back. It's now time for our game break presented by Pringles Wavy. We'll be breaking down the first 2 maps of this series. And surprisingly, Wolf, we came into today, ending yesterday, knowing who was going to be clashing today and thinking like, man, it's going to be such a close series. But surprisingly, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about in the first 2 maps because it's kind of been Seoul Dynasty just getting away with murder.
I think that I'm trying to find the best way to explain this, but it's not a surprise to me this ends up being one-sided. This is what I predicted at the beginning. I told you I couldn't tell you who's going to win. I don't know what happened in scrims last night. I don't know how the practice went, but I knew it was going to be one-sided. And the reason why I thought it was going to be one-sided was because you either figure out how to beat Seoul's comp or you don't. Right? There's only 2 options. There's only you either figure it out and you've got a counter comp, or you're mirroring it and you play it better than them, or you don't. That's been the whole story of Seoul for the entire playoffs. So if New York figures it out, right, then they crush, right? It's not even close. And Seoul is like, well, we're going to have to play something different. And Profit goes on Genji or something, and it's just a disaster, right? And they get destroyed. That might happen in top 4 because there's going to be a lot of time to prepare for Seoul before then. Same for Washington Justice if they make it, for example. But right now, they haven't figured it out. They're still playing Winston. Huxell's still playing Sombra. And Seoul's like, I've already played 2 Zhou teams doing this. I've already beaten Shanghai Dragons doing this. I forced Shanghai Dragons to match our comp yesterday. You think you're going to be the one to come in here and just play the same thing everyone else is trying to play? Jonak is doing his best as he can on the Ana to get those Bionades off to make sure that Mono can secure those kills on the tank line. I mean, that's really where they're finding their most success. It's not from Huxell's EMPs. It's not from his hacks, his right clicks. He's getting picked more than he is getting value on the hero. And that's why I was wondering, are we going to see a different comp? Are we going to see them change it up? Because we're not seeing that. And as a result, this is New York Excelsior just getting totally bopped. They don't look like they even exist in this series.
Yeah. I mean, here's a tough question that I guess I'll pose for you, and this will be our crunch time presented by Pringles Wavy. What are the top 3 things, if you can get that many, that NYXL can do right now to better their chances of taking the series?
I think they should be...
You're not allowed to say win, reverse sweep, or do better. Those are not acceptable answers.
I mean, I think they should be... look, one thing they could do is put Hoppa on Roadhog. He's played Roadhog a lot in his career. He's got a background on it. I don't know how good Mono is at Zarya. Obviously, we've seen him on Sigma like a few times, but it's pretty rare.
Just run hog ball.
Yeah, I mean, they could also do that, which is somewhat popular. They could do something like that, kind of match Seoul Dynasty. Feels risky, though. We've already seen teams try and fail. Guangzhou Charge is the one that comes to mind most of all when you think about imitation Seoul Dynasty, right? That's one they could do. They probably won't do. They could put Huxell on Genji more often. Try to run Genji Ashe compositions. We've seen some success from New York Excelsior with this, and we've even seen them do it in this series, which is part of the reason why they ended up succeeding on holding C on Numbani, because they had some really nice team fights there. Mono ended up getting a lot of clutch heals from Jonak. And then C, the third final thing, I should say, or number 3, is to consider putting Jonak on some more Zenyatta-based compositions of trying to play more of a poke battle rather than a hard engage battle. That's one thing you can do. I know, I've noticed, I'm always on Twitter, and I've noticed that Brendan Sideshow are both tweeting about how they feel like it's a crime that Zenyatta is not being used by New York Excelsior because, we're looking at one of the most famous Zenyatta players of all time, 2018's MVP on Zenyatta for a reason, and he's not playing it. When in North America, Zenyatta is the go-to, and in Asia, we see a lot of Zenyatta as well, so it's not like just NA. But I think the reason why we're not seeing him on it is because you're leaving yourself vulnerable to double sniper. There's so many sight lines that when you have especially that crossfire with Fitz and Profit playing snipers, you're just at risk. You can't always get the safe Harmony Orb on the Mono. He's playing so aggressively, you're not going to keep that. You don't have the healing throughput. For Mono's playstyle, it doesn't work, right? We saw, Jonak get 1 sniper kill on, I think it was on Busan versus one of the snipers, Fitz or Profit. But besides that, you're not going to win that trade, and then you're just going to have problems otherwise. I like the idea of just eliminating all healing whatsoever onto the Roadhog and just blowing him up. Hack him if you can and just take him out. And I think that's what New York is trying to do. I think it's kind of working. It just isn't working consistently enough. And I mean, they could try to run the Zen. The problem is you're on your last life here in the tournament. You lose one more map, it's over. They couldn't figure it out last night how to fix it, you know, or they're just going to play the same thing. I don't think they're going to reinvent the wheel during this crunch time right now, like during this game break. I don't think they're going to suddenly come in with a sick counter comp. Like, they're not going to pull a Shanghai. We were hiding this all along. Watch out. Now that we're down to our last life, we're going to pull out the sick counter comp. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they are just going to get destroyed in this final game. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality of playoffs meta changing at the last second. And that's happened. I mean, if you think about it in Overwatch League, it's happened the last 3 years. 2018's meta change we saw where London Spitfire rocketed through. We saw it 2-2-2 coming in at the end of 2019. Still ended up getting the 2 best GOATS teams in the finals. And now here in 2020, it's like the most crazy shift we've ever had, I think, in any of the 3 seasons with a meta shift. And Seoul are the winners of that so far here in Asia.
Yeah. They certainly are. It's a very good look for them and a very scary one for the NYXL and for the NYXL fans watching right now and those who are going to be, God forbid, the ones who have to wake up and then find out the news. But they're still not out of it yet. That's true. Good point. Good point. But yeah, they're still not out of it yet, but it's not looking great. Let's see if they can at least put a map point on the board. Nobody wants to get blown out of the water. 0-3 in their last match of the season. They want to push forward. They want to persevere. They want to at least make this a lot closer than it has been. So we're going to see if the NYXL is able to do that with their next map pick of Temple of Anubis when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
체력들 살짝 빠졌습니다.
잘 들어갔죠.
불사를 썼는데.
Looks like, yeah, slept there at the front of the point. Now Fit's going to be taken down by Mono. Nene on the hunt, looking for a target. Will manage to find Vidoshin, who is already under fire.
안쪽에 잘 들어갔어요. 지금은 정말
The Mortality Field buys a little bit of time, but it's actually going to be Jonex sniping Toby out from underneath it. And the blade comes back down, cuts through Marvel. Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready to dive into what could be the last map for the APAC region before the top 4 collide. NYXL are on their last leg. They need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to advance forward alongside the Shanghai Dragons to go up against the top 2 teams from North America. Otherwise, Seoul Dynasty just 1 win away from closing this out.
Yeah.
So close right now, Seoul Dynasty. The pressure is on. Fans starting to get excited, I'm sure. Just wait a little bit longer.
Look, it's Temple of Anubis, Hakusol's Genji map, right? I remember when we had Genji come through at the very end of the season a little bit last year and at the very beginning of the season as well. You know, everyone was like, all right, Hakusol on the Genji. You know, this is before Vancouver Titans exploded and we, you know, had a completely new roster come through. If you can remember that far back, right, it feels like forever ago. It feels like it was last year, but it was really only, you know, half a year ago that happened. Not even. But you look at where we've come since then and, like, where we are now, and Hakusol could potentially save this series with some really good Genji play on Temple of Anubis, where arguably, you know, Genji is at his strongest. It's a really good map for dive. We're seeing so much dive from New York. It feels like they're incapable of doing anything else. It's just Ana, Winston, D.Va dive with Sombra. And maybe it's Genji that ends up saving them here, but really grasping at straws.
Poetic.
I mean, New York Excelsior, I know there's going to be, I mentioned it earlier, I know there's going to be Monte Cristo's face with an LW blue symbol, the universal choking sign. No, I'm going to see it. I don't want to see it. Put it away. It's not going to happen.
I don't want to see Monty's face either.
But this is not a choke. This is just an outclass. This is a new meta. This is an unfortunate circumstance for New York Excelsior. And I see New York get criticized so much in playoffs every year. Every stage of last year, you know, regular playoffs last year. And people only forget, or people only remember, rather, they forget consistent teams that don't make it to the finals, that don't win the finals. They forget about the teams that perform super well. And as I said, New York's still most consistent team in the Overwatch League for the last 3 years. And people think they can oversimplify their performance here. Like, Hakusol's EMPs weren't good, so they got 3-0'd. You know, that's not how this is. This is Seoul Dynasty revolutionizing how the entirety of this tournament, this meta, this playoffs has been played. And New York doesn't have the answer yet. Hakusol is on Genji here. It is the Winston D.Va defense. So defensive dive. Seoul Dynasty obviously going to scout this very early. They might not even change anything up. The double sniper has been working so well for them, but as I say that,
we'll see some changes as Fitz is just going to go over onto the Sombra. Says, okay, you know what? If I get a hack on Bianca, we just farm off of that. If I get a hack onto Hakusol, he can't deflect him. Prophet probably just kills him. So going to be looking for that. Mono starts on the low ground, does not get hooked. The hack does not come through. Nice dynamite connects. As Fitz falls low, has to retreat, gets health pack to go ahead and top himself back up. Seoul Dynasty make their way through the initial choke. Down coming through, Jester going to be taking a breather. Marvel eating quite a bit of damage as well. Bionade does come in. The dynamite from Sebiolbi shuts down the enemy Zarya.
Good clothing store.
I'm about the clothes that I'm wearing. Yeah, I'm wearing Zara right now. Me too. That's what it is. Well, Jester finds one. Sebiolbi will fall. Mono with a nice drop down, however, is looking for the punish on the Marvel, but can't quite get it. Does retreat back up onto that mid ground, and Hakusol is eliminated. Prophet opening things up. Seoul Dynasty are straight back in towards the point. Jester going to be taking a nap for now, but the rest of the team leads the way, trying to open things up. And Jester will go ahead and rejoin as they start ticking their way up on the point. Hook not going to connect. Jester now in a potentially risky position, but he's got Toby on standby and decides not to push up on that high ground. Just decides to peel back. Sebiolbi quite literally 1 HP. Does get some heals coming through. Bob now going to be tossed out from Prophet. Sleep Dart from Jonek will shut that down for the moment. Nano Boost has to be used on a Hakusol, and he nearly has the blade online. Now has it. Does he pull it? Not stunned up there very briefly. Bianca now going to be demeched. Sebiolbi eliminated, and Hakusol hacks, so he cannot draw the blade. And the point is nearly going to be capped here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Jester taking a nap, but they don't have any reliable ways of actually finishing him off. Hakusol finally draws the blade as Mono does fall. He can't make it over to the mini-pack, so the blade means absolutely nothing for the NYXL on this defense. The cleanup comes through. There's now 4 minutes and 45 seconds in the time bank for the Seoul Dynasty. And like you said, I think he's got to swap.
He has to, because you can't operate with the mega pack that he loves on B that's below the little archway there, because it's going to get hacked by Fitz, and then you're just going to have a super hard time with the Genji. He does swap back to it, though, as I say that, but Fitz is going to get in there. He's going to hack it. There's nothing New York can do about it, and oh no. Bianca, this could be the beginning of the end. There's the grab.
This is a tragedy right now, unfolding in front of our eyes. The Graviton Surge blocking up an Almo Prophet, got the headshot, the Bob's over onto the point. Mono does manage to find one, his creative will fall. He pops the Primal Rage to try and delay, but he's not playing on the point for now. There's too many members of the Seoul Dynasty. He knows that he will just die if he goes over there. Self-destruct going to be used, manages to catch two, and Bianca might have just turned this one around on its head. They still give up 82.4%, but that self-destruct, those 2 kills, enable the NYXL to hold on a little bit longer.
It's a miracle hold, and that's what they've been needing so desperately. And remember, this is after he gets caught in a crazy way out of position. Like, I have no idea why he was where he was before when he got D-Mac there just a moment before. He swaps over the Zarya now. Fitz looking for this EMP angle. Zabilby's already taken out. This is a really tough time here for New York.
Yep, Rez does come through from an ammo. EMP used from Fitz. Manages to catch Hoxall, catches Bianca, but the kills aren't there yet. Gesture bio-nated. The Nano keeps him alive for a little bit longer. Mono just can't stay in that long to try and get that kill. Does exit back, but Seoul Dynasty slowed up here for the moment.
All right, there's another hack here for Fitz. Gets the Mega here. He's going to play a little bit more conservatively. Not going to be playing far forward here because they don't have that tempo advantage anymore. That's a nice pick on the Jonak. It's going to allow them to kind of shove their way forward. There's going to be a res, but look at the distance they've covered.
That's a trade out. That's exactly what you want to see if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan. They get that exchange, but now this is not what you want to see. Hoxall finally draws at the plate, and this time it has purpose, it has meaning, it has impact. Comes up with 3 kills. As Jester is left to his own devices on the point and will be taken down in the end. And YXL continue to hold on.
This is a, starting to look like a holdable position for New York, you know? And this is after a total throw in that first fight where Bianca was able to save everybody. Self-destruct come through, desperation, 82.4, the number that they land on here. Prophet has got a Bob for the engage, but I don't think they want to launch that out until Marvel's got his energy charged up. He keeps getting these solo kills and forcing these residents. Hack to deny.
Yeah, hack to deny. They're onto Anamos. Now going to have to wait for Hoxall to respawn and come back in. Bob's going to be finished off so far. The only trade-off here. Jester goes in for the hook, can't quite find one. Marvel, Nano up, pushes forward, takes down Bianca, denying him from getting that Graviton Surge online. He's just 16% away now. Grab going to be used into the back line, finds Sapiobi, pops it solo. And the Seoul Dynasty will be able to get the cap here on point B, finishing Temple of Anubis with 1 minute and 44 seconds remaining.
Absolutely insane that Seoul Dynasty looks so dominant here. I mean, sure, there was a few moments there where New York looked like they might have been able to stave things off, but they had, diminishing returns on the ult advantage they had because they had to keep tossing out all their ults to defend because they were, 2 ticks down, I guess you could say, 1 tick to go on the cap. So they had to really take every fight desperately. And there was a really nice blade fight there for Hoxall, but this might be the most one-sided playoff Overwatch series I've ever commentated, and I've commentated most of mine with you, so I know that you probably feel the same way. But we're just seeing insane individual performances here. I mean, look at this. You think you're going to res? No. Fitz is already there. He's already 1 step ahead.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
One shot, New York Excelsior. This is the first time they've been mortal in this series. It might be 3 years in a row that they just fall short of that finals, that grand finals, the elusive top finish of the most consistent team in Overwatch League. Still haven't made it to that very most important, most prestigious part of the tournament despite great results all year long.
Yep, consistent until it hits that breaking point of just how important the matches are, and then it crumbles. Yes, in Macapway, you can kind of say that they are still consistent in that. Nice shot, however. Sabilby finds Prophet. Now Fitz going to be gone. This is a great start at the NYXL. Mono going to be traded out. Oxel in the back, though, alone with both supports. Now the rest of the team arrives, and Toby will fall. Creative gone as well, and that should be the point. ACAP coming in. Prophet swaps onto the Tracer. Fitz now to the Sombra. And yeah, this was a great attack. Sabiobi coming up with so many kills here for his squad. Getting that opening on the Prophet eliminates so much extra damage that would be raining down onto the rest of the team. And now they break through, and they're going to have a massive time bank here. 6 minutes on the clock to get this cap.
I mean, you could see how difficult it was for Huxel to kill those supports with how well they're linked together. Marvel having that extra assistance as well, but okay, look at this. New York coming into this, they don't have great ults, you know, to look for a double cap or anything like that, and that's going to certainly slow them down. Nice bio here, once again from Jonak, but this is definitely a scenario where New York can end up with a massively favored time bank, which is crazy considering how things were just moments ago. But they need to do it carefully. They need to use the ult advantage they're about to have online here, the Nano Blade, and get huge value out of it. And that's not how it's going to be. Another hook.
Yeah, another hook. Melee kill there with the combo. Gesture takes down Hoxall, further delaying the blade. Hack now onto Bianca, as Mono is way in the back lines here.
You're almost
getting stranded on the solo mission.
You're almost never going to get this ult advantage again if Fitz gets an EMP. So that's really the time limit right now. 56% and ticking up here. New York need to find value in this fight before that. The grab's going to make it difficult, but I think you've really got to press the go button now. I mean, you've got 5 ultimates coming online here. Do or die time. This is the closest you've been to a dominant finish on any of the maps we've played so far. It's time to shine. Just going to slow it a little bit. Here we go. Oh,
Blade coming in, instantly pulled in, but he does manage to stay alive. Takes down Gesture with the help of the Bio Nade. Graviton Surge comes out from Marvel. Nana Boost hoping to keep him alive for a little bit longer. They're investing so much to just go ahead and fuel this Zarya, but he does get taken down in the end. Jonas going to be right back into the fray. Gesture is going to be dead as well. Fitz tries to drag it back into the favor of the Seoul Dynasty by taking down Mono. Still holds on to an EMP. Might have to be a very long delay fight here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty, but perhaps not, because Prophet and Bob just massacre 3 members.
There's just no peel for that Bob damage anymore. And look at the swap come through. Huxall onto the Sombra here. They're trying to play around the EMP ult economy. Look at what Fitz already holds. It's going to make these next few approaches oh so difficult. I like the Anamo swap over to this Lucio. I think we're going to take a look at this Bob just...
And he just
barely
lives,
survives.
and he pushes him into position to get the final kills. Oh, that's tragic.
Really is.
This is what I'm talking about, Jeff. Jeff, this is why we need a Bob first-person POV. So I can just see it from his eyes, his cold, dead mechanical eyes, just as he mows everybody down.
Now look at this soul swap. Jonak's now onto Moira. And we're going to see this EMP fight. This is almost impossible to win for New York.
They managed to catch 3. They did get rid of Profit, so a lot of the damage going to be gone. Hack out onto Anamo, traded here onto Marvel as Hoxall
Bianca's
tries to
peel,
farm
really nice.
off of the Diva. Sabiobi pushes up, looking for the supports. They're isolated in the side room, in the left side catacombs by themselves. Creative, under fire, a couple more shots will get him. Sabiobi manages to take down both, but back over on the point. Jonik and now Bianca are going to be gone. Marvel collapses, gets rid of Sabiobi, and there's still no ticks picked up so far here for the side of the NYXL. Prophet with a rocket will get Mono on the exit, and it's going to have to be another reset down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds here for New York.
The time is low, but that was a really nice trade in terms of building up the ults here for New York Excelsior, right? I mean, they had a really nice fight. Bianca having a ton of D-Matrix defense there for the approach. Huxall got his EMP. Anamo, you know, he's a little bit behind in terms of the sound barrier build, but they're going to have a coalescence in this fight too. If they can approach, right? This is where Prophet's like, oh, okay, so now you have no answer for me. Forgot about the fact that Pharah exists, right? And he's going to make their lives hell, but this is still winnable.
EMP catches 4 members on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. They pull back over towards the point. Follow-up hack goes out onto Gesture. And a boost used to keep the teammates alive. Prophet, the recipient of that. Creative will fall, but it's going to be a trade out from Mono. The res is there from Toby. Now Hoxall eliminated. So 2-0 trade here. Seoul Dynasty coming out on top. Prophet just pulls back around the pillars, avoiding that coalescence from Jonak. NYXL, they burn more ultimates and gain nothing for it.
Yeah, this is so desperate for NYXL. You know, the swamp, they're trying to look for the, you know, everybody's seen the Reaper be on Anubis. It's very strong if you get to the point. I mean, it gets more desperate. Huxall's like, well, maybe I'll play the Genji. Oh, maybe I'll play the Sombra. This is it. Tournament life on the line. 90 seconds to go. This is it. You got one real team fight with ultimates here. This fight's going to be unwinnable if Fitz gets a big EMP, so it's the next one you're really planning on winning with. But if Fitz gets to save it, you're in even bigger trouble. And Saebyeobi's
already gone! Already eliminated. Mono going to be bionated. The EMP does come through, catches onto 3. Anamo just trying to turn things around, drops the sound barrier, and Prophet will be taken out by Bianca. The whole hog pushes the members of the NYXL off the point for now, and Creative manages to find the killing blow onto Mono. Gesture takes a breather, looking to build up for that next ultimate, looking to get any staggers that he possibly can. He had nailed that hook onto Bianca. It would have been catastrophic for NYXL. Jonik asleep, bionated, didn't have the fade up as Creative finishes him off, and Prophet just continues to push forward, looking to take down anybody that he possibly can.
They
rockets in, but
can't
cannot get the kill, but now it's 40 seconds.
Yeah, they can't regroup here. They're going to take so much
They're
damage
going to have to play for a draw. They're going to have to play for a draw.
I almost feel like Saebyeobi should flop. I know he's got the Death Blossom, and I know they have staying power with that hero. They need 3 ticks here, so I get the idea, but can you even get to the point? Can you even have that Blossom on the point here? With 22 seconds on the clock, you've got no EMP, you're going to have to Primal on, and there's a self-destruct to buy time, get a Coalescence, and then somehow, maybe the Death Blossom goes off on the point. So Dynasty just trying to chill it.
Target. He wants the hack, he gets pulled in, manages to jump away, gets the Mega Pack to heal himself back up to full. Mono going to be hacked out, can't go into the Primal range. Somebody still has to touch the point. Anamo likely going to have to be the one.
Primal.
Mono now does get the Primal, he makes his way over onto the point, tries to get the corner shot there onto Creative to cleave him down, but cannot do so. Prophet receives the nano, drops in with the barrage. The D-Matrix is very good for a little bit, but then it expires, and Bianca cannot keep Hoxall safe. Does manage to push forward, finds Gesture, still manages to stay alive, and has that self-destruct online in case he gets desuited. They'll just go ahead, throws out the bomb, looking for a pick. Doesn't manage to find one. Mono gets rid of Creative. EMP Blossom now going to be online for the side of the NYXL.
Matrix.
Blossom comes out, the sound barrier dropped in to keep Saebyeobi protected. Anamo, the shield's now going to be expiring, and Hoxall still has the EMP. Marvel lets loose with the self-destruct, throws that one up into the air. Doesn't manage to find any kills, but will desuit Bianca as Fitz re-arrives with the Doom Fist. He instantly gets a punch at Saebyeobi. Mono going to be taken down. Bianca is gone. Hoxall uses the EMP, but it's a solo onto Marvel. They just do not have the follow-up. Hoxall, however, is taking things into his own hands. Finds 2, but he cannot stay on the point. They cannot get the cap. And the Seoul Dynasty have done it. A 3-0 sweep over the NYXL here in the losers bracket finals. Seoul Dynasty are advancing into the top 4 alongside the Shanghai Dragons, the San Francisco Shock, and unfortunately for the NYXL, this is it. Their season, their 2020 is over.
I think Jonak and Anamo's expressions here, really tell the story of where New York's been for the last 3 years in these really critical matches. And the meta's shifted all 3 times away from favorable for New York. That's something that you can't always control, right? Patches happen, the game will always change and evolve, and everybody has to deal with that the same way. It feels like New York figure out the meta in the regular season, they figure out how to play that, and this year they've had the hardest regular season in terms of that, with the hero pools coming in. I've had to jump through a lot of hoops, jump through a lot of hurdles. They've made massive roster changes from Who Are You to Hoxall coming in, Bianca making a big splash towards the latter half of the season. Nene's in and out. Saebyeobi coming back to, relatively big success in the end. And they just they can't crack Seoul Dynasty's new meta. And that's just the end of it. This is not a choke. This is not a, oh no, like we totally choked in the playoffs. No. This even speaks more volumes to Shanghai Dragons' strength, right? Like Seoul was pushed to the brinks against Shanghai Dragons with their comp, forced Shanghai to mirror, barely lost that one, and they come down to face New York, and it's like not even close. This was, again, probably the most one-sided playoff game I've ever commentated of Overwatch. Insanely one-sided, and it's tragic.
It was, what more can you say? This is unfortunate for NYXL, for their fans. It's a heartbreaker of a way to go out of the 2020 season, not even able to pick up a map. Even at the end there, it was assured that they were going to have to try to play for a draw, and they couldn't even get that opportunity. Seoul Dynasty, though, boy. Now, it is finally time to get excited. These guys are locked into the top 4 for the Grand Finals weekend. These guys look absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of this play is coming off the back of our player of the match, who, again, he's picking this up, is Gesture on his Roadhog, who just continues to go on these sneaky stealth missions, coming up with picks, assassinating the likes of, of Hoxall, the backline for NYXL, over and over again. Man, what a turnaround on the season for him.
I mean, it really was. He's had a very rough season. People are saying he was washed. People are laughing at Seoul Dynasty, saying what a waste to pick up this player who was so good first 2 years, and then suddenly, you know, it's like one of the most expensive players you can grab if you're Seoul Dynasty. He's not working out. It's not working out for profit, and everything comes to a head here, where they've just kind of solved this meta. He comes in. He's a great Roadhog player. And Marvel has obviously been a great Sigma throughout his entire career in the Overwatch League since Sigma's release. Pairs well with him, and I mean, this is the perfect storm of good for Seoul Dynasty here. And it's time to get excited. It's actually time to be hyped for this squad. You know, New York fans are going to keep mourning, but let's see how this team does, you know, when we hit the big top 4. Let's see how Washington Justice does tomorrow, see if they can actually make it to Korea as well. We could have a crazy end to this season, and it's already crazy as it is, but we might have an insane, unpredictable finish.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you had asked me several weeks ago before the playoffs had begun, you know, is Seoul Dynasty going to be the team that makes it out alongside Shanghai? I would have said no. It's probably Guangzhou or the NYXL. But Seoul they've found their comfort in this meta with this roster, and it just seems like there's very little that can stop them. Shanghai Dragons have been the only thing to take them down so far, and that shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But even then, it was
so
still close.
Yeah.
So I mean, these two teams, according to my, you know, with my backdrop here, the two that you can see constantly are the ones who make it through, the Tigers and the Dragons. But man, what a series! You know, like I said, an unfortunate way for the NYXL to go out, but Seoul Dynasty, the team, the fans, they can hold their heads high. Finally, at last, they have a meta that they absolutely have mastered. They look phenomenal, and they are riding into the top 4 globally here in the league to try to make it to that grand finals. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, we're going to have to a little bit further away, but I mean, Wolf, that does it for APAC as far as the regular season and the playoffs. It's now all coming down to those top 4 teams competing.
I can't believe that we're already at the end of the season. This year has been crazy for everybody, every single team, all of our production staff who stay up super late at night to do this show with us. Big shout outs to them. It's been incredible how everyone's come together, all 20 teams, all of our production staff, to make what was supposed to be our biggest year in terms of homestands and traveling around the world into still a deliverable show that's done by, you know, so many teams of casters around the world, production staff around the world working from home, and everybody's come together to make Overwatch League still look great. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for the regular season, right? And everything we've done so far for me is, you know, no one expected this year to turn out this way. None of the teams expect this to turn out this way, but we made it all the way through. We're headed into that top 4 now. We're about to cross the finish line.
Well, we are done, but North America, not yet. There's still one more match to be played over on that side. I believe it's Fusion versus the Washington Justice to decide who is going to be coming over to Asia alongside the San Francisco Shock. That is another series that you guys do not want to miss, and I'd be, you know, if I was a betting man, I would put money on it that it's not going to be a 3-0 blowout, much like we just saw here between the Dynasty and the NYXL. I think that one could absolutely go the distance. And again, I really don't know who is going to be able to take that one. So make sure you guys tune in for that match. But otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in for the regular season matches alongside us for these playoff matches. It's been nothing short of wonderful to bring you guys the action. We'll be looking forward to coming back and bringing you guys the action for the top 4 when that takes off.